Be prepared. Something shifted, and we're just now beginning to witness the consequences. They said the age of Aquarius was coming, that it was years, even decades away, tied to some complex planetary lineup, waiting for astrologers to declare it official. But what if it didn't care about their charts? What if the real shift already happened? Silently, not in the sky, but in the current of human consciousness itself. While everyone was waiting for some cosmic announcement, it may have already arrived, quietly, like a change in the wind you don't notice until the leaves are already moving. The world didn't need permission. It moved forward without asking. And the proof? It's everywhere. It didn't show up on anyone's calendar, but it may be here, and the people most sensitive to it feel it in their nervous systems more than in their astrology apps. And hey, if you've been noticing strange coincidences, sudden clarity, or just this growing feeling like time is folding in on itself, let me know down in the comments. I want to know what patterns you've been spotting lately, only if you feel like it. And one more thing, if you've ever felt like the background character in everyone else's story, keep watching, because there's one specific reason why that's about to change. I'll get into that in a moment. But first, something much weirder is happening, and it could just be because of the age of Aquarius. It's not just spiritual fluff, it's inside your brain. Your brain is no longer in the old frequency. Let's get one thing straight. You're not imagining it. You're processing faster, your thoughts, your reactions, even your dreams. They're not operating the way they used to. There's a reason why conversations are starting to feel like code, why you've started sensing the meaning behind things before the words even land. And it's not because you've suddenly become psychic overnight. It's because the Aquarian frequency is here. And whether you realize it or not, it's already rewiring you. Not slowly, not gently, but like a lightning strike to the collective nervous system. People are quitting things they used to love, rejecting beliefs they never questioned. It's not rebellion, it's resonance. Like a hidden signal's been turned on, and only a few are tuned in to hear it. It's not just spiritual, it's electromagnetic. The Aquarian Age doesn't care who you used to be. It only responds to who you're becoming. And here's the part no one's saying out loud: this upgrade won't reach everyone at the same time. Some are already inside it. Others haven't even noticed the download. But for those who have, things are starting to spark. And if your sleep's been weird, your thoughts have been rapid, or you've been having ideas you don't even remember learning, that's not random. That's activation. And it's only the beginning. Because next, we're going to talk about a new kind of signal that started spreading across the planet. And once you hear it, you won't be able to unhear it. If you're waiting for a sign, this quiet is the sign. Have you noticed how strangely still everything feels lately? Not on the surface, things are loud out there, but beneath it all, there's this weird silence. Not the kind you hear, but the kind you feel. Like a pressure drop in reality, a pause you can't explain. You might think nothing's happening, that we're in some kind of limbo, or that life's just stuck. But this is exactly when the biggest shifts occur. Not with fireworks, not with chaos, but in the stillness that settles right before a new frequency locks in. Think about it. That pause before a song starts. That moment when everyone holds their breath before a decision. That strange, eerie calm that falls over a room right before something big breaks through. That's the energy we're in right now. What you're feeling isn't emptiness. It's a new signal stabilizing. The Aquarian frequency doesn't come in like fire, it comes in like a code. It slips under your thoughts, it hums beneath your senses. It's precise, clinical, electric. A lot of people are feeling bored, tired, disconnected from the things that used to spark them, but it's not depression, and it's not apathy. It's alignment without drama. It's your inner system syncing to a new grid. We've been trained to think that progress comes with noise, with intensity, but this shift is subtle. So subtle that unless you're still enough to notice it, you'll miss it entirely. The quiet isn't the absence of movement, it's the calibration of a new system coming online. And here's the strange part. For those who can feel it, the silence can actually be louder than noise. It gets into your bones. It makes your skin feel too tight. It makes you want to do something, anything, but nothing feels quite right. That's because the old system has nothing left to offer you, and the new one hasn't fully opened yet. You're standing in the doorway of a timeline you can't see, but you can feel. And if the silence has been getting to you lately, if you've been questioning why everything feels both full and hollow at once, that's the frequency breaking through. But it's not just energetic, it's biological. Because right now, your nervous system is being completely rewired. You're not breaking down. You're being reconfigured. Let's talk about the symptoms. Because the truth is, a lot of people are quietly freaking out right now. And they don't know why. They're feeling things they can't explain. And most of them don't realize it could be tied to the shift we're in. Buzzing sensations in the hands and feet. Random pulses of energy that make it hard to sit still. Sudden, sharp fatigue that crashes over you like a wave. Even sounds feeling too loud, too layered, too much. It's not in your head. Your nervous system is adjusting to a different rhythm. The Aquarian Age isn't just a spiritual metaphor, it's an actual frequency, a real electromagnetic environment. And humans are, at our core, bioelectric systems. Your body is trying to run new software on an old interface. Some people are calling it burnout, some are blaming stress. But look deeper and you'll notice it doesn't quite behave like either. It doesn't follow the rules of ordinary fatigue. It comes and goes. It spikes in strange moments. It makes you feel like you're either superhuman or totally short-circuiting, sometimes both in the same day. That's because this isn't a breakdown, it's a calibration. Aquarian energy runs on speed, clarity, technology. And your body is trying to keep up. You're being tuned to a sharper bandwidth, and that comes with side effects. This is why some people are suddenly hypersensitive, emotionally, physically, psychically. You might find yourself feeling off for no reason, or overwhelmed by subtle shifts in light, sound, even scent. That's not weakness, it's your system opening up new channels. The nervous system you woke up with last year is not the one you're using now. And yes, it can feel overwhelming, but it's not meant to destroy you, it's meant to prepare you. Because what's coming next requires more sensitivity, not less, more clarity, more capacity, and most importantly, more awareness. So if you've been feeling like you're glitching, breaking, or losing control of your rhythms, pause. You're not malfunctioning, you're upgrading. And soon, the world around you will start making a lot more sense once you learn how to operate at this new level. You're transmitting Aquarian light without even knowing it. Here's something no one told you. You don't need a platform to make waves in this age. You don't need followers, titles, or a perfect morning routine. If you're tuned in, you're already transmitting, just by being. If you found yourself making different choices lately, even tiny ones, you're already participating in the shift. When you walk away from drama, when you say no to an old pattern, when you choose presence over panic, you're coding the field. You're creating ripples. The Aquarian frequency isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be seen. But it changes everything it touches. And maybe you've noticed it in the people around you too. You say one thing that feels simple to you, and someone else is shifted by it. Not because you're trying to preach or convince or be a light worker, but because your resonance is doing the talking. Thoughts are frequency, so are conversations, and Aquarian light travels in silence just as well as sound. This is the thing most people miss. You don't have to force the new world into existence, you just have to stop anchoring the old one. Every time you choose stillness instead of reacting, presence instead of performance, you become a stabilizer, a beacon, a quiet tuning fork for a chaotic world. And here's the paradox. The more sensitive you are, the more powerful your broadcast. That hypersensitivity you've been wrestling with, the overwhelm, the feeling like your skin is too thin and your mind too loud, that's not fragility, that's range. Aquarian energy moves through highly sensitive systems first, not because they're weaker, but because they're more refined. Those who feel the most are often those who lead the shift, without needing anyone to know their name. You're not here to convince anyone. You're not here to prove anything. Your frequency is already doing the work. And if you've felt like you've been holding a strange kind of space lately, like people keep gravitating toward you, even if you're exhausted, that's because you're radiating coherence in a world still figuring itself out. But something is happening now, something new. Because the ones who've been quietly holding the light, they're starting to step forward. The Aquarian pioneers won't have titles, they'll have frequency. We've been taught to follow voices with volume, to trust the polished, the branded, the ones who stand on stages and command attention. But in the age of Aquarius, leadership is being rewritten, and it's not going to look like anything you expect. The real leaders are already here, but they don't look the part. They're the ones who never quite fit in, the ones who always had ideas that felt 10 years too early, the ones who were labeled too sensitive, too weird, too intense, the ones who saw patterns where others saw chaos, who felt things before they were real, who knew without knowing how. These are the Aquarian pioneers, and they are not here to dominate. They're here to build. They're not shouting from podiums. They're sitting in cafes, sketching blueprints of a future no one else believes in yet. They're midwives for a new consciousness, not generals, not influencers, not gurus. And here's the thing. If what I'm saying is giving you chills or making you feel like I'm describing you, it's not a coincidence. The new leadership won't be chosen, it will be recognized vibrationally. It's not about expertise, it's about frequency. Aquarian leaders don't command obedience, they transmit coherence. They don't need a spotlight, but when they speak, people feel seen, not impressed, resonant. You don't step into this role by trying. You step into it by being. The future doesn't need more idols, it needs initiators. Time hasn't broken. It's just no longer following your clock. Have you noticed it? The way days are slipping through your fingers like water. The way a week feels like a month and a moment feels like forever. You wake up, and somehow it's already evening. Or you stare at the clock and swear it hasn't moved. This isn't burnout. This isn't forgetfulness. This is what happens when linear time starts to dissolve, and it is dissolving. Welcome to temporal recalibration. The Aquarian Age doesn't move by the hour, it moves by frequency. And if you've started to feel like time is warping, stretching, collapsing in on itself, You're not going crazy. You're sinking. For those resisting the shift, time feels cruel, heavy, like walking waist-deep through molasses while everyone else sprints past. They're stuck in what was, still measuring time with tools built for the old world, still trying to navigate quantum currents with analog compasses. But if you're aligned, you've likely noticed something else entirely: sudden leaps in growth, conversations that collapse years of wisdom into minutes, projects that used to take months unfolding in a single day, epiphanies appearing out of nowhere. That's because you're not using time anymore. You're moving with it. Time has stopped being a path and become a frequency band. This new time isn't about rushing, it's about alignment. When you're in tune, things arrive faster, not because you're hustling harder, but because the delay between the desire and the manifestation shrinks. You might be quantum leaping without even realizing it, skipping old karmic loops, closing storylines that never needed a dramatic ending. You're not looping, you're upgrading, and yes, sometimes that means you'll feel disoriented. The human brain wasn't designed to function outside of time, but your soul was, and it remembers. Here's the paradox that no one tells you. You're not running out of time. You're finally catching up to it. And once you truly sync with the Aquarian frequency, you'll realize that what felt like delay was divine compression. The universe holding back just long enough for you to catch the wave. Chronological time was the training wheels. Now, you ride light. This isn't about purpose, it's about origin. Something strange is happening across the planet right now. Quiet, invisible, but undeniable. People are waking up with the urge to leave cities they've lived in for years. Artists are putting down their brushes and suddenly building gardens. Engineers are dreaming about sacred geometry. People are burning through their old careers like paper, and they're not even scared. They feel the shift, even if they don't understand it. This isn't a midlife crisis. This isn't impulsive rebellion. This is a return to code. Because in the Aquarian Age, your old life is losing its grip, not because it was wrong, but because it wasn't original. You're being pulled, magnetized, toward your original energetic blueprint, not your job, not your personality, not the version of you that adapted to survive, but the version that came here with intention, with memory, with encoded mission. You'll feel this as an ache, a hunger, a calling that doesn't care about logic or timing. It doesn't ask your permission. It arrives like a magnetic pull in the chest, a nudge in your dreams, a sudden clarity that a certain place or project or person is tied to your path, and it has to happen now. Your soul is reorganizing your life based on the original pattern, the one you chose before the noise, before the programming, before you were told who to be. Alignment in the Aquarian Age isn't earned, it's remembered. And yes, it can feel destabilizing, because the old markers don't apply. You can't check a spreadsheet to know you're on track. You can't ask your past self for guidance. That version of you has served its purpose. Now you're listening to the quiet voice that's never steered you wrong, the one that whispers go, speak, build, rest, move, even when nothing around you justifies it. If you felt the sudden need to change everything, not because you hate your life, but because you know something else is waiting, it's not madness. It's remembrance. Your blueprint is waking up. And it's not just about what you do, it's about what you are. You were never here to fit. You were here to remember. The future doesn't talk. It transmits. There's a quiet evolution happening right now, and it has nothing to do with language as we know it. In fact, it's bypassing language entirely. More and more people are finding it hard to explain how they feel. Words don't cut it anymore. You try to describe an inner shift, a knowing, a dream, and the words fall short, clunky, outdated. Like trying to paint a galaxy with sidewalk chalk. This is not a failure to communicate, it's an upgrade. The Aquarian Age doesn't operate through paragraphs and podcasts. It speaks in symbol, pattern, image, resonance. It speaks through the things that don't need explanation. Truth in the Aquarian Age is not spoken. It's recognized. Think about it. You're seeing it everywhere. The rise of symbolism, tattoos with sacred geometry, dreams filled with numbers and repeating signs, random animals showing up at just the right moment, people being magnetized to colors, visuals, shapes, without even knowing why. It's not aesthetic, it's language, a language your soul remembers, even if your mind doesn't. And suddenly, we're all becoming visual learners, not because we're lazy, but because the visual realm is faster, more direct, no filter. A symbol doesn't lie. A pattern doesn't manipulate. It just is. That's why we're moving toward images and intuition, toward music and motion. That's why you're picking up more from a glance than an entire conversation. That's why so many people are obsessed with signs. Not because they're desperate for answers, but because they already know them. They're just waiting for the visual confirmation. In the Aquarian Age, meaning arrives before the words. It doesn't ask permission. You walk into a space and just know. You hear a sentence and instantly feel the real meaning beneath it. You look at a symbol and download a whole narrative. Language is no longer about translation, it's about transmission. And this will change everything. How we teach, how we heal, how we connect. The future isn't verbal, it's vibrational. So don't be surprised if you're struggling to explain what's happening to you. That's not confusion, that's evolution. You're not losing your voice, you're learning to see. But here's the catch. When communication becomes frequency, something else happens too. Something powerful. You become visible in ways you never imagined. Your energy is the first thing people hear. In the old world, it was easy to pretend. You could say the right words, wear the right clothes, keep the secrets tucked behind carefully curated smiles. But not anymore. The Aquarian Age is dissolving all that. People are becoming energetically see-through. It's subtle, but undeniable. You walk into a room and suddenly feel like someone knows your whole story. You hear someone speak and instantly detect what's not being said. The subtext is louder than the speech. This is what happens when the light gets too bright. Everything false begins to flicker. It's not just about truth, it's about frequency exposure. Lies now carry weight. Secrets hum like static in the air. If something feels off, it is. You don't need proof. You feel it. You are the proof. And no, this isn't to punish. This isn't some cosmic interrogation. It's purification. Nothing needs to look different until you do. The age of Aquarius doesn't come with a flashing sign. No one announces it. No one confirms it. And that's exactly why most people miss it. But the moment you even consider the possibility, what if we're already in it? Something cracks open. Suddenly the ordinary starts feeling strange. The patterns shift. The silence deepens. Not because the world changed, but because your perception unlocked a new version of it. You start noticing things that used to hide in plain sight. The tension in conversations, the weight in certain rooms, the truth behind people's words. It's like you've stepped into a parallel reality inside the same one, and now you can't unsee it. And you don't need proof, you don't need permission, because once that door opens, it never closes again. So if you feel like something's different, but no one's saying it, you're not crazy. You're early. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.